Guys doing today? Damo 30 here with another Smart Money Concepts video. Um, Make sure you guys are going over these videos in order. I promise you I'm breaking this down as simple as I can. That way you guys can understand it. That way you guys can be able to teach this to your kids, right? Last lesson was lesson 2, where we went over intermediate order blocks, where I explained how they can be used in different locations now. How you can have a reverse engulfing candle. Today we're going to go over lesson 3, which is advanced order blocks. Really just a few more added steps in the whole order block section, but again, fairly simple. Again, you'll be teaching this to your kid. Your kid's going to get it. So I have no doubts in that. So let's get right into it. So we've already said that reversals can be located at the top, bottom, top, or the bottom, top, or middle of a trend, right? So we know that we can find big ones at the top, we can find big ones at the bottom, we can find big ones at the top or bottom that's engulfed. We can find also ones that are in the middle. These are all possible points where we can get some entries in. Right. We also know that reversal blocks can also create inverse engulfing. We just talked about that, right here. This does not disqualify this as a order block. If we were using this like a retail strategy, this probably, if this were at the top or bottom, this probably wouldn't be something that I would personally use, because I'd be looking for price to maybe retrace this candle and continue on its merry way up. Same over here, I'd be looking for a retracement and to continue on its merry way down, obviously depending also on what time frame you're on. And that's one thing we haven't mentioned today, guys. No matter what time frame you're on, this strategy works. It doesn't matter if you're on a 5-minute, 4-minute, 3-minute, 4-hour daily. It doesn't matter. You're going to get some type of reaction when you hit an order block. Right. Now this is optional. This is something that you can do. This is something that I do, right? And that's create a zone wrapping the engulfed candle, right? So we know the engulfed candle by now, guys, is the smaller candle, right? So now we're going to wrap that candle, right? So, we're going to take, doesn't matter, what pair we do, but we're going to do this one, right? And we're just going to wrap this candle, right? Just like so. Now creating like a zone for us, like saying, hey, this is, an area of where I'm going to look for. A lot of times this is where I'm able to actually use my Hulk fib, or I call it my entry fib. This is where I'm actually able to say, hey, to get that 50% entry, right? So it really just helps that 50% entry. So excuse me, that you guys can get the better risk to reward entry, right? Your stop loss will still be either above here or above the wick. So, you can either do something like that with your zone. I always just do this, or I just, wrap it in that smaller candle. So this is how I do it, right? So once you've done that, if you do that, because again, it's an optional step, you don't have to do that. It just helps me identify the area where I'm looking for that next thing that we're going to go over, which is, it's a little bit darker. There we go. So it represents a zone. So again, something that's still the same. Once you've identified, you put a line at the open or the close of the engulfed candle, which is a smaller candle. This represents your first potential entry. After that, you're going to measure the engulfed candle, the smaller candle, using your traditional fib, and mark a line at the 50%, representing another possible sniper entry. Now, this is the step that gets confusing. This is the step that people, usually don't take, just depending on, your trading rules and all stuff like that. But this is an added step, right? If your order block fails, this doesn't mean it wasn't valid, right? So this doesn't mean that your order wasn't valid, right? In smart money concepts, we're learning to trade like the banks. So we have to, get an understanding of how the banks trade. Now, the banks are not just going to say, hey, we're just going to make it fail and not use that. They're not going to say, hey, we're just going to take off. We're just going to go, straight above there, and just take off, right? In a lot of cases, if the order block fails, it can still be used in reverse, right? So what does that mean? Right? If the sell order block fails, look for the potential buy entries off of the same order block, and vice versa for the buy, right? So this is super, super simple, right? So if you have your zones, right, you have your areas of where your order block was, right? And what I actually like about these patterns, the ones at the end on the outside, the ones that are in the middle, you actually, and now these can also be found at the top or bottom, but you'll find that these also create other smart money concepts that you guys will learn about. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but just to let you know, you guys are going to see that these make certain patterns, right? If you already know, you know, right, that these create certain patterns that, you know, also give us extra confluence of where we're going to take our entries from. So, you know, going back to, you know, we have our zoned out area. Let's say price fails, right? If that order block fails, your stop loss was here, right? Price decides to say, hey, you know, I'm not stopping here. I'm just trying to click the arrow. You know, I'm not stopping here. I'm actually going to come, you know, stop that entry out that you may have had, right? Because it's not a 100% strategy. I don't know anybody that's 100%, right? So if I know that, you know, that if it fails, it can still be used. This is how I'm going to take it, right? Oh man, you know, we got stopped out, you know, no biggie. It is what it is, right? But if you see price start to move, you know, in a way like this, where it moves like really heavy, maybe even creates an engulfing pattern on this side, right? All you're going to do is take that and reverse it, literally. That's it. You're going to reverse it. Now that this order block has failed for the sell for the purpose it was originally for, it can now still be used for the buys, right? So, you know, potentially we'd be looking for entries, right, for the buy side. And this is an alternative. This is a, you know, depending on your rules, because some people say, you know, maybe if you lose one trade, you're pretty much done for the day, or whatever the case may be. Mine is, you know, pretty much around 2 or 3. That kind of ends my day. So, you know, this, if my first trade fails, this gives me an opportunity to switch my bias, you know, obviously with the added influences that I may have, and say, hey, you know, we know that, you know, price is potentially going to continue to skyrocket or move for a certain amount of pips. Let's make sure we get those pips, because I mean, I want to catch the bag, right? So if the bag is available for to me to catch, I'm going to do whatever I have to catch it, right? Why, you know, give up just because your first order block failed, right? It could potentially just be used, you know, for a second entry. Or remember, you know, what I was saying, like with these, right, with this order block. So if this order block, you know, comes back up here, right, you'd be looking for it to drop. However, if price moves past right here, there may have been some other added confluence that was upstairs. So that's why I was saying, you know, be aware of your surroundings as well, because this could happen where it may fail here, but technically it was going for another, you know, smart money concept, you know, more that we'll go over, where you can say, hey, you know, I'll take that entry that's a little higher up. But again, you know, if it creates that move, you know, that comes all the way up here, right? And it's giving you all the confluence that say, hey, we're gonna reverse. You're just gonna, you know, use that. It can still be used as a confluence, but now in reverse for the buy side, right? Same thing applies over here, guys. You know, if price fails here, goes straight through, this can still be used, right, as an order block, like so, right? So these are the biggest things. And then the last thing, how you trade it, you guys already know. If you guys have been, you know, on all the classes so far, either using a limit order or a market executing your entry or entries, being at your 2 possible entry points with your stops above either the close order block or the wicks of the order block. That's how you trade it. All, you know, like I said, just a little added step here and there, right? Just to make it simple, just to break it down so you guys understood it. So I hope you guys get it. I hope you guys, you know, are making sure you guys are back testing this, because this is not only going to be an added confluence to your game, this is going to be that sniper stuff that gets you those arsenal entries, right? So, I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the, order block series. The next series that we're going to go over is the intermediate, or sorry, it's not intermediate, it's the imbalances, right? So we're going to go over imbalances lesson 4. That is I think I'm going to make it into a 2-part series. It's more of like beginner intermediate type stuff than intermediate advanced stuff. Imbalances aren't too hard, but stay tuned. Make sure you guys are looking out for that course or that content next. I love you guys. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Domo 30 out.